A very good evening, everyone. David Mulco with you on this Monday. We want to get right to breaking news and an arrest connected to the most destructive wildfire still burning right now near Spokane. The suspect, 37-year-old Aaron Fernacci, who's accused of arson for intentionally setting what became the Old Trails fire. More than 600 structures, including many homes, have burned in this one. Witnesses telling police they saw Fernacci bending down in a grassy area on Saturday before seeing smoke coming from the area. As you can imagine, emotions running high in Spokane tonight as people learned about that arrest.
Kids are probably gonna have to go to counseling for dealing with all that with PTSD. Like, our daughter has anxiety, man, and to find out that like somebody started that, like, there's a lot of families. A teacher that I work with right behind my house lost everything that he had, including his pets, and like to know that that all could have been avoided is heartbreaking, man.
It's a lot to take in. Court records show Fernacci was previously convicted of manslaughter in Arizona. The Old Trails fire is one of 3 burning in and around Spokane. All remain uncontained, and thousands of people remain under evacuation orders. The governor there calling it the worst natural disaster in Spokane's history. Meanwhile, we are tracking air quality alerts and growing health concerns across the Portland metro and beyond after smoke from fires in central and eastern Oregon made its way into the valley. This is a look at the sun setting behind a layer of smoky skies from our sky camera at the Vancouver waterfront. Tonight we have live team coverage, including ways to keep all the smoke out of your home. But we begin with meteorologist Joe Ranieri with what you need to know, including some potentially record-breaking heat on the way. I mean, Joe, this just sounds brutal.
It's brutal, and it's going to be miserable for the next couple of days, especially for folks who don't have any AC. So we are issuing that weather impact alert for tomorrow because of the heat, but it's also going to be smoky and hazy heading into the next 2-3 days or so. So that alert will go in effect tomorrow, stays in effect until Thursday. Hot days ahead. Tomorrow will be in the mid-90s. We potentially could be looking at highs close to 100 degrees on Wednesday. That would be the record-breaking day. And if you're going to be spending any time outside, so I would try to kind of limit that over the next couple of days because that smoke and haze is really going to be impacting our air quality. Currently, we're in the unhealthy for some, and that means for people who might have some respiratory issues, don't head outside if you can. As we go into the east side of the state, we're picking up some reds and some oranges. It's basically going to be unhealthy no matter where you're at. Look at that map. Right now on the Oregon coast, you're unhealthy, and at one point it was in the good category. The smoke and haze is just going to be sitting over the Pacific Northwest over the next couple of days. So I have a couple maps I want to show you. This shows you what's going to be taking place in terms of the air quality the next 48 hours. It's basically going to go down to the good level tomorrow morning as the temperatures are a little bit on the cooler side. But once those temperatures go up a little bit, you can kind of see we'll be jumping up into the moderate category, almost unhealthy for some again, heading into tomorrow night, and it'll start to improve over the next couple of days. This is another map that shows just how bad it is going to be across the Pacific Northwest. Will basically be in the unhealthy category for a lot of locations, the east side of the state here the next couple of days. By late Thursday night into Friday, David, is when things will start to improve. I'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
No, that's still a ways off. Thanks, Joe. I want to bring in Catherine Cook now. Catherine, it sounds like the smoke is already having a tangible impact.
Yeah, David, Clark County officials tell us their 911 center is getting more and more calls from people experiencing medical problems because of poor air quality, and that's straining their system. They're asking the community to limit outdoor activities, like Joe said, as well as large gatherings to help protect the community's health. As a heavy, hazy veil settles in over the metro, a warning from the DEQ. There is no safe amount of wildfire smoke to breathe in. That means for people with pre-existing health conditions, young kids, and older adults, it's best to stay indoors. But that raises another concern.
There's a lot of smoke in the air, and those tiny smoke particles can easily get into your home.
Jamie Seymour with Energy Trust of Oregon offers her go-to tips to keep smoke out.
So one of the first things that you can do is just sealing up all the little gaps and cracks around your house. Think your windows, your drafty doors, your vents. They make weather stripping or caulking that can help seal up those little gaps and cracks and prevent those particles from coming in, or even using a door sweep on a drafty door.
Bonus, those same tips help keep homes cool in the summer and warm in the winter, reducing energy bills. If you use a window unit air conditioner, experts say make sure the outdoor damper is closed. For larger systems, switch to fan-only mode to keep clean air inside.
Also, just making sure that you keep your filters clear. A good rule of thumb is checking them about every 3 months or with the change of the season. That's a good way to remember it.
Seymour adds during wildfire season, you might want to check and replace your filters every 6 weeks. And if your system supports them, she says high-efficiency particulate air, or HEPA, filters are the most effective. Experts over at Energy Trust say using an air purifier is also a good idea. For especially sensitive family members, they noted creating even just one clean air room inside your home can really help. They're also offering up to a $75 off coupon and free shipping on select Energy Star certified air purifiers. We'll include a link to their discount site on KGW.com. David.
Yeah, Catherine, we work in an old building and I can even smell some of it in here, right? Thanks, Catherine. You know, as for the wildfires themselves, Oregon has now surpassed the record for the most acres burned in a season, about 2 million so far this year. That's the size of about 22 Portlands, 22 put together. There are about 50 active fires in the state, and yes, it is only the 3rd day of August. The closest major fire to the Portland metro, we've told you about this, the Grasshopper Fire is southeast of Mount Hood. It's burned about 31,000. On its southern end near the Pine Hollow area, nearly 200 homes were in harm's way. The fire officials say that no homes have been lost. Amazing work. Weather conditions, especially the wind, still the big concern.
We have Mount Hood, which is a big giant rock, and the wind changes as it goes around and makes an eddy. And so as that wind comes around, we might have wind changes. So when we think we're going to have wind coming from the west, it funnels back in and it changes it and it brings it back into us.
Big giant rock, never heard it quite put like that. Crews were able to get some containment lines around this fire. 17% is now considered contained. Okay, with resources stretched so thin, and the need so great across Washington and Oregon, we are activating our Northwest Response Fund for those who need help. You can donate by scanning this QR code with your smartphone. Now, keep in mind, your donation goes directly to the American Red Cross to help those affected in eastern Washington and throughout Oregon. If you want to donate in person, we've got you covered. Just visit any local U.S. bank branch. We also have the link to the fund on KGW.com. Of course, stay with us as we track the ongoing wildfire emergency. You can find updates, including your full 7-day forecast, anytime at KGW.com or on the KGW mobile app. Well, to more breaking news tonight out of Lynn County, where it appears officers shot a suspect at a park. Oregon State Police say they found the man armed with a handgun around 7:30 tonight at River Bend County Park. Police say there was some sort of confrontation and shots were fired, though they didn't explicitly say that officers fired the shots. We're trying to get some clarification there. The suspect was injured and is now in custody. No officers were hurt. Investigators have shut down Highway 20 through the area and say it will not reopen until 8 tomorrow morning. In an update, we are learning about the teenager killed in a shooting at a house party this weekend that left 5 other people injured. 18-year-old Terrell Granberg died early Sunday morning near Northeast Alberta and 57th. That's in Portland's Cully neighborhood. Granberg had just graduated from Adrian Nelson High and had a 3-year-old daughter. We spoke with his aunt today.
Terrell was an amazing young man. He was an amazing father, a young parent, but he was really embracing fatherhood.
Police say in all 75 shots were fired. It turns out officers say they were called to a party at the same house earlier in the evening and say those who were there cooperated and many agreed to leave. The shooting was reported around 3:30 in the morning. The ATF is now offering a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. Well, to an update on more breaking news from this weekend and the century-old warehouse along the Willamette that caught fire then went up like a chimney. Crews are still monitoring the area, worried that the structure and the water tank on top could collapse. Blair Best has more from Northwest Portland.
Black smoke filled Portland's waterfront as flames burst out of this 8-story abandoned warehouse in the Pearl District just before 4 Sunday evening.
It just got so big so quickly.
And then when we look out, the building's on fire. It's post-apocalyptic.
KGW viewers capturing the scene from every angle as nearly 100 firefighters by land and by boat spent 2 hours dousing the flames.
And it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The fire causing the timber floors to collapse, the flames even taking over the roof's water tower.
That structure is pretty heavy, and we're concerned about structural collapse. There's been radio reports of visual inward leaning of some of these walls.
On Monday, investigators worked to figure out the cause.
Right now, this remains an active investigation. There are crews there all night, and they will continue to be there doing the investigation. We've requested additional resources from Skepus Fire. They're there with their drone to help us do mapping of the building.
For neighbors,
yeah, I'm not surprised that it went up in flames.
the vacant 116-year-old former flour mill has been a problem for years, even the site of previous fires.
A lot of people in and out of there all the time.
2 months ago, police cleared squatters from the building.
I hope, pray that there's nobody who was in there.
Micah knows what it's like inside.
I just went in the back door just a little bit to get a couple pieces of dry firewood.
The neighborhood now has this message to city officials and the building owner.
You have a duty to your neighbors to make sure something like this doesn't happen and can't happen again.
Blair Best, KGW News.
And new this evening, Amtrak says it has now canceled all trains between Portland and Seattle since the tracks run right across the building. There's cancellations through at least Friday. All right, speaking of NATO Parkway, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. It took crews about 5 hours to clean up a mess this afternoon from a crash in downtown Portland. That is wheat that spilled all over the road when a semi-truck overturned on South Harbor Drive just past the intersection with NATO. We were there as crews used giant airbags and pulleys to get the truck upright. Police say the spill happened after the truck and a car collided. 3 people went to the hospital and should survive. The crash cleanup also blocked traffic trying to get on and off I-5. In the Gorge, a hiker has died after he fell more than 50 feet from a cliff above Punch Bowl Falls. The Hood River County Sheriff's Office says this happened early Saturday morning. This is file video of the popular hiking spot along the Eagle Creek Trail. A friend telling the Sheriff's Office the 19-year-old from Kennewick, Washington, tried to climb down the rock face to reach the base of a waterfall when he slipped and landed on the rocks below. And don't forget, Washington's top 2 primary is tomorrow. If you have not registered to vote, you can still vote in person tomorrow at your county elections office. Mail-in ballots need to be in an official drop box by 8 p.m. Tuesday in order to count. At this point, best to forego the mail, right? We'll have results as soon as they start coming in, including in Washington's 3rd congressional district race, big one, on KGW.com and here on KGW News at 11.